There is an Igbo woman in Idaho. Not Houston, not Peckham, not Atlanta, Idaho. She moved there on purpose. Wide land, clean air, a ranch she could finally afford. And the first thing her family asked was not, "Will you be warm?" or "Where is the nearest hospital?" It was, "Do you have a dog?" Ndewo. No. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. I'm Yvonne Mbanefo. Today, day 4 of week 2, we are talking about what you have, who you have, how to say it in Igbo, and why in Igbo culture what you possess and who possesses you are rarely two separate questions. Ka anyị bido. Let us start. Today's guiding proverb is Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Being alert doesn't mean one is afraid. Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Vigilance is not paranoia. Preparation is not anxiety. In the Igbo worldview, the person who takes precautions is not the fearful one. They are the wise one. Today's sentences live in that space, the space between what you have and why having it matters. By the end of today, you'll be able to say 3 things in Igbo: that you have a dog, that you have children, and that together you have a large family. Each sentence is a stone. Together, they build something much harder to knock down. Philadelphia, late November. The Eze family convoy, 3 overloaded vans, has been driving for 2 days. Chiamaka Eze is 31 years old. A pediatric nurse, born in West Philly, raised between Igbo Sunday school and the Scepter bus. She has spent 4 years saving for something nobody in her family understood: a ranch in rural Idaho. Remote, quiet, and, by Philadelphia standards, absurdly far from everything. Her father, Emeka, does not understand the choice, but he has driven 14 hours to help her move in. He steps out of the first van. The air smells of pine resin and diesel. 2 days of motorway still sitting in the engine. He looks at the land, flat and wide and pale under snow. Looks at the nearest neighbor, half a mile. Looks at the road, a single lane. Looks at his daughter. Then looks at the dog crate in the back of the second van. The dog is not a pet. It is a decision. A 90-pound Nigerian Burble dog named Obi, bred to patrol, not to cuddle. Though Chiamaka's youngest nephew has already named him Sweetie. Emeka opens the crate first. Obi steps onto Idaho soil, raises his nose to the wind, and begins walking the perimeter of the property as if he already knows the boundary. Emeka watches him, then, quietly, almost to himself, Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Being alert doesn't mean you're afraid. Inside, Chiamaka's brothers were already on the roof fitting the CCTV cameras. Her sister Ngozi is on the phone with the doorbell camera app, linking the live feed to the family WhatsApp group. Within 2 hours, 14 people in 4 states will be watching Chiamaka's front door in real time. Her father surveys all of this. The dog patrolling, the cameras going up, the children running in the snow, the sisters arguing about Wi-Fi passwords, and says the only thing that matters. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. We have a large family. He means it as a fact, but it lands like a fortress. Scholars spark. That image, each person moving to their task without being told, has a name in the scholarship. In their 2016 paper, Intra-household Labor Allocation in Colonial Nigeria, published in Explorations in Economic History, economists Vellore Arthi and James Fenske studied daily time use records from Amankwu, an Igbo village in southeastern Nigeria, collected by the anthropologist Jack Harris in 1939 and 1940. What they found was this. In colonial-era Igbo households, the labor of one family member and the labor of another were deeply complementary. When one person's capacity was stretched, others adjusted around them. Spouses and parent-child pairs coordinated their tasks over and above what any seasonal pattern required. Brothers on the roof, sisters at the app, Emeka with the dog. Nobody called a meeting. Nobody assigned roles. The coordination happened because that is what the Igbo household, across centuries, had already learned to do. What you have and who moves when you need them to. In Igbo life, these have never been separate questions. And so the 3 sentences we'll learn today are, number 1, nwere nkịta. I have a dog. Repeat after me. Nwere nkịta. Nwere nkịta. Nwere nkịta. Number 2, nwere ụmụ. Nwere ụmụ. I have children. Repeat after me. Nwere ụmụ. Nwere ụmụ. One word shift, same structure. Ụmụ means children. It is the same root as ụmụnna, the extended community, children of the same origin. So when Chiamaka says enwere ụmụ, she's not just counting heads. She is naming the people she is here to protect. Enwere ụmụ. And the third sentence, the one that holds all of it. Number 3. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. We have a large family. Repeat after me. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Ezinụlọ carries more than blood. It means the household, everyone under the same ala, the same roof, the same responsibility. Chiamaka's large family turned remoteness into something else entirely. A network, a web, a fortress. You can download this week's free practice workbook at learnigbonow.com. Ka Chineke gọzie ụlọ gị. May God bless your household. Every person in it. Every camera on it. Every dog patrolling it. Every phone watching over it from 4 states away. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop for today. Abum nwanne gị nwanyị Yvonne Mbanefo. I am your sister Yvonne Mbanefo. Keep learning, keep speaking, and remember, progress beats perfection.